Good evening. We're starting with breaking news tonight. 4 people are dead after a helicopter crashed in the mountains south of the town of Superior. The Pinal County Sheriff's Office sharing the heartbreaking news late this evening. 12 News journalist Sean Rice has been closely following this story from the airport in Superior. And Sean, look, this story just went from bad to worse. A helicopter, all 4 on board perish, foggy conditions. But now we learn that this helicopter likely hit a slack line that was strung between 2 mountain outcroppings.
Right. Yeah, Mark, good evening to you. A lot of those questions that we had earlier this evening are coming to fruition. We're getting some answers in terms of what exactly happened, and I'll get to that slackline cause here in a moment. But it's hard to put into words just the immeasurable loss that Pinal County saw this morning, Friday morning. A helicopter taking off from an air park in Queen Creek crash lands in the Telegraph Canyon area. This is about 5 to 7 miles south of right where I'm standing at the Superior Municipal Airport. And late tonight, the sheriff's office telling us that all 4 people on board, a 59-year-old man from Queen Creek who was the pilot, and 3 of his female family members, ages 22, 21, and 21, have all perished in this awful helicopter crash. Let's take you to some Sky 12 video. Our helicopter was able to fly over the scene earlier on this afternoon. They were unable to find this actual crash site because there has been a no-fly zone that was in place and remains in place within a 4-mile radius of where that helicopter went down. The sheriff's office says it departed from Pegasus Air Park in Queen Creek earlier this morning, and this crash landing happened at around 11 a.m. We do not yet know why they were headed northeast towards the town of Superior right before it went down. PCSO says preliminary evidence shows a recreational slackline more than a kilometer long was strung out over a mountain range. They say an eyewitness called 911 to report seeing the helicopter strike that line and then dive down deep into the canyon, crashing. Photos from the Pinal County Sheriff's Office shows their search and rescue teams on the ground in the mountains this afternoon. They reached that crash site on foot at around 4 p.m., making that awful discovery that nobody on board made it out alive. Now, right now, there is a federal and local response. The FAA and NTSB, 2 federal agencies, will be investigating the cause of this crash. Again, preliminary evidence is that it hit a slack line, but they will make a final determination of what ultimately caused it to go down. I'm told an NTSB investigator will be on site, quote, sometime tomorrow. Now, the Pinal County Sheriff's Office has not released any names of the 4 people who perished on board. They did issue a statement, I think, echoing a sentiment that a lot of us feel all throughout the valley. They offered their thoughts and prayers with each person involved. Now, I did have someone reach out to me who informed me that one of her daughter's best friends was on board. She indicated to me that this family may be from Eastern Oregon. I have no idea why they were in this area, but I just expressed my thoughts and prayers with her, offering my sympathy that her family is no doubt going through a heartbreaking situation.
Now let's pivot over into the next video so we can get a little bit more details about what they were doing.
New information tonight after a deadly helicopter crash east of the valley. It came down Friday in a remote area outside of Superior, and all 4 people on board were killed. Taylor Wirtz joins us tonight with the very latest. Taylor.
Yeah, Brian, family members tell me it was a Queen Creek man from Oregon, David McCarty, and his nieces, also from Oregon, who were killed. It was actually McCarty's wedding day, and he was taking the girls for a ride before the ceremony. Family members identify his nieces as Caitlin Heidemann and sisters Rachel and Faith McCarty, all in their early 20s. They say David owned several helicopters and had been flying them for years. He has flown Telegraph Canyon, the area near the crash site, plenty of times with no issues and knew the area well. The Pinal County Sheriff's Office says the helicopter crashed around 11 a.m. yesterday near the canyon after taking off from Pegasus Air Park in Queen Creek. Authorities say initial findings point to a recreational slackline playing a role in the crash, which had been strung across a mountain range. Eyewitnesses say the helicopter struck a part of the line before falling to the bottom of the canyon. The family tells me everyone who knew the victims is shattered at this news, especially the small town of Echo, Oregon, where the girls are from.
I mean, these when they say it takes a village to raise a child, that's the epitome of these communities. Everybody had a hand in raising these girls. The families lost 50% of their children.
I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
on the wedding day, which was supposed to be a celebration.
On the wedding day. That does. You try. I'm assuming he was trying to have a just amazing wedding day. Go on, take your nieces on a helicopter ride for the wedding, and then a slack line. You hit a slack line. Absolutely. Let's get over into a little bit more about it so we can truly understand what's happening. Let's get over into, I like to do the AI overviews just so we can understand a little bit more that's happening. So let's get over into it. So like they said, on January 2nd, a private helicopter crashed near Superior, killing a 59-year-old David McCarthy and his 3 nieces. Scheduled to be his wedding day. So the group was on a sightseeing flight before the afternoon ceremony when the aircraft went down in a remote canyon. So here are the names of the victims. So you got David McCarthy, 59, Caitlin Heidemann, 22, Rachel McCarthy, I might be saying her name wrong, I'm sorry, the last name, 23, and then Faith, 21. The call, so the preliminary evidence talks about a recreational slackline that was strung more than 1 kilometer across mountain range. Witnesses accounts, so the eyewitnesses reported seeing the helicopter blades detach or shear off after striking the line. The investigation, why the slackline was across the canyon and why it may not have appeared on the flight obstacle reports. So that's a lot of questions. So that's a good question. What are the regulations for slacklines in the area? So the FAA requires the tall structures or potential hazards to air navigation, including high tension lines, must be marked and registered and noticed to air missions. Must issue an alert to pilots. So most likely, someone just trying to have fun, didn't want to report, didn't want to even think about reporting it or getting the proper documentations for the slackline. Just trying to have a good time. Set it up, strung it across the mountains, thinking what are the odds that somebody will fly through it? Set it up and left it. Obviously, still not around. And then just a 59-year-old man just trying to go on his wedding day sightseeing flight ends up striking it and killing 3 of his family members. It's a tragic situation, absolutely tragic. I wonder, so here's the main question. Who should be responsible for it? Should they find out who strung the slack line or who tied the slack line and arrest them? Should they be arrested for murder, manslaughter, or is it just an accidental death? I'm thinking that the person who tied the slack line should be held responsible for the deaths, especially since they didn't get the right permitting or anything like that, or didn't notify the proper authorities. It's ultimately going to be on them, but the question is, how can they find them? Unless somebody posted about it on social media or something like that, or somebody has any information or comes forward telling why they did it, or that they were with the people who did it, they might never find them. But let me know your thoughts on that situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy. But let's pivot over into the